You're standing in a glittering ballroom, surrounded by the elite, your heart pounding as you hold a secret that could shatter your family's smug smiles. For years they mocked you, called your dreams frivolous, laughed in your face when you dared to chase your passion. But tonight, you're about to flip the script in the most satisfying way possible. This is the story of Lila Sterling, a woman who turned her family's cruel words into fuel for a $2 million empire and served them a revenge so sweet, it'll leave you speechless. Buckle up, because this one's a wild ride. If you've ever been underestimated, disrespected, or made to feel small by the people who should have had your back, this story's for you. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and let's dive into one of the most epic family revenge tales you'll ever hear. Trust me, you won't want to miss a second of this. Lila Sterling was never supposed to amount to much, at least. That's what her family told her. Growing up in the wealthy suburbs of Connecticut, Lila was the odd one out in a family of overachievers. Her mother, Vivian, was a high-powered lawyer with a razor-sharp tongue and an even sharper disdain for anything she deemed beneath her. Her older sister, Nora, was the golden child, a cardiologist with a picture-perfect life, a smug smile, and a knack for making Lila feel like she was always chasing a standard she'd never meet. From the outside, the Sterlings were the epitome of success, a sprawling colonial mansion, charity galas, and a reputation for perfection. But inside those walls, Lila felt like an outsider. Her passion for event planning, dreaming up lavish weddings, corporate retreats, and charity balls, was dismissed as a cute little hobby by her mother. "Why don't you get a respectable job?" Vivian would say, her voice dripping with condescension, her perfectly manicured nails tapping the mahogany dining table. Nora would smirk, adding, "Yeah, Lila, what's next? Balloon animals for kids' parties." Their laughter would echo in Lila's ears, each chuckle a needle pricking her confidence. Lila's chest would tighten every time. She'd force a smile, her knuckles whitening as she gripped her fork. But inside, her thoughts screamed, "I'm not a failure. I'm not a joke." She'd always loved creating experiences, moments that made people feel something. The way a bride's eyes sparkled when she saw her dream wedding come to life, or the buzz of excitement at a perfectly executed gala. But to her family, it was all frivolous, a waste of time, a waste of her. By her mid-20s, Lila had moved out, desperate to escape the suffocating judgment. She started small, planning birthdays and anniversaries for friends. But her talent was undeniable. Clients raved about her attention to detail, her ability to turn chaos into magic. Within a year, she'd founded Sterling Occasions, named after her own surname, a quiet rebellion against her family's doubt. Lila poured her heart into it, working late nights, sketching table settings by candlelight, and hustling for every client. But her family? They didn't care. At every holiday dinner, the questions came like clockwork. "Still playing with flowers and tablecloths, Lila?" Vivian would ask, her lips curling as she sipped her wine. Nora would chime in, "You should have gone to law school like Mom suggested. At least then you'd have a real career." Lila would bite her tongue, her cheeks burning, her heart heavy with the weight of their words. Have you ever felt that? That sting of being dismissed by the people who are supposed to love you most? Lila carried that pain like a backpack full of bricks. But it was also her fuel. Every snide comment, every eye roll, every "you'll never make it" pushed her to work harder. She wasn't just building a business, she was building a legacy to prove them wrong. By 2023, Sterling Occasions was a quiet powerhouse. Lila had grown it into a $2 million company, with a team of 15 clients ranging from tech startups to A-list celebrities. She'd orchestrated galas at historic venues, weddings that made national magazines, and corporate events that left executives speechless. But she kept it all a secret from her family. Why? Because she wanted to see their faces when they realized how wrong they'd been. The opportunity came in the form of the Sterling family's annual charity Gala, a glitzy event that Vivian and Nora treated like their personal Oscars. It was the social event of the year in their circle, a chance to flex their status and raise money for a local hospital. But this year, their usual event planner had bailed at the last minute, leaving them scrambling. Nora, in a moment of desperation, called Lila. "Hey Lila, you're still doing your little party planning thing, right? We need someone to handle the gala. It's a big deal, so don't mess it up." Lila's heart raced as she held the phone. Her sister's voice was as patronizing as ever, but this was her chance. She agreed to take on the gala, for free, as a favor to the family. But inside, She was plotting something bigger. This wasn't just an event. This was her stage. For weeks, Lila threw herself into planning the gala with surgical precision. She secured an exclusive venue, a historic mansion with crystal, chandeliers and marble floors. She coordinated with top-tier caterers, florists, and musicians, pulling every string in her network to make this the event of the decade. Her team worked overtime, transforming the mansion into a wonderland of gold and ivory, with cascading floral arrangements and a string quartet that could make you cry. But every step of the way, her family undermined her. Vivian sent emails nitpicking every detail. The napkins look cheap. Are you sure you know what you're doing? Nora texted, "Don't embarrass us." Lila, this isn't one of your little backyard parties. Lila would read these messages late at night, her laptop glowing in her darkened apartment, her jaw clenched so tight it ached. She'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. Why do they hate me so much? What did I ever do to deserve this? But then she'd think of her clients, the ones who called her a genius, who trusted her with their most important moments. She'd think of Sterling occasions, her empire, built from nothing but her own grit. And she'd whisper to herself, they'll see. They'll all see. The night before the gala, Lila stood in the empty ballroom surveying her work. The chandeliers sparkled, casting prisms of light across the room. The tables were set with precision, each centerpiece a work of art. She ran her fingers over a velvet tablecloth, her heart pounding with a mix of nerves and anticipation. This was it, her moment. She thought back to every cruel word, every dismissive laugh. Her mother's voice. Why can't you be more like Nora? Her sister's smirk. Event planning? That's not a career. Lila's hands balled into fists, her nails digging into her palms. She wasn't just going to pull off this gala. She was going to make it unforgettable. And then she was going to make them eat their words. Lila made a decision that night. She wasn't just going to reveal her success. She was going to own this moment. She'd show them who she really was. Not the failure they'd painted her as, but the powerhouse who'd built an empire while they laughed. The gala was set for 7 p.m. on a crisp October evening. Lila arrived early, dressed in a sleek black gown that hugged her curves, her hair swept into an elegant updo. She looked like she belonged among the elite, but her family didn't notice. Vivian barely glanced at her, too busy schmoozing with donors. Nora was in a corner, flirting with a wealthy surgeon, tossing occasional jabs Lila's way. Hope you didn't forget the champagne. Lila smiled tightly, her pulse thrumming. She moved through the crowd like a conductor, checking every detail. The waitstaff glided seamlessly, offering hors d'oeuvres on silver trays. The quartet played a haunting melody, and the lighting cast a golden glow over the room. Guests were already whispering, "Who planned this? It's incredible." At 8:30, it was time for the speeches. Vivian took the stage, her voice commanding as she thanked the donors and praised the gala's world-class execution. Nora stood beside her, basking in the reflected glory. Lila stood at the back, her heart pounding, her fingers gripping the edge of a table. Then came the moment Lila had been waiting for. Vivian said, "We owe a special thanks to our event planner, who stepped in at the last minute to save the day." She gestured vaguely toward Lila, her tone patronizing. "My daughter Lila, who, well, she does her best with her little party business." The crowd chuckled politely, but Lila felt the familiar sting. Her cheeks burned, her throat tightened, but this time she wasn't going to stay silent. Lila stepped forward, her heels clicking on the marble floor. The room fell silent as she took the microphone from her mother's hand. Vivian's eyes widened, her lips parting in shock. Nora's smirk faltered. Lila's voice was steady, but there was fire in her eyes. "Thank you, Mom, for the introduction," Lila said, her tone calm but laced with steel. "But let's clear something up. I didn't just step in to save your gala. I created it. Every detail, the chandeliers, the flowers, the music, was designed by my team at Sterling Occasions. A company I built from the ground up, a company that's grossed over $2 million this year. Alone." The crowd gasped. Vivian's face froze, her wine glass trembling in her hand. Nora's jaw dropped, her eyes darting between Lila and the guests. Lila didn't stop. "For years you called my work frivolous, a hobby. You laughed at my dreams, told me I'd never amount to anything. But while you were mocking me, I was building an empire. I planned this gala not because I had to, but because I wanted you to see what I'm capable of. And now you know." The room was silent. You could hear a pin drop. Vivian's face was pale, her lips pressed into a thin line. Nora looked like she'd been slapped. The guests erupted into applause, some even standing, their faces lit with admiration. Lila handed the microphone back to her mother and walked off the stage, her head high, her heart soaring. The rest of the night was a blur of triumph. Guests swarmed Lila, begging for her business card, praising her work. "You're a genius," one woman gushed. "This is the best gala I've ever attended." A CEO from a tech firm offered her a 6-figure contract on the spot. Lila smiled, her chest swelling with pride, but her eyes kept flicking to her family. Vivian stood in a corner, her face a mask of humiliation. She tried to laugh it off, but her voice was shaky, her usual poise crumbling. Nora was worse. She stormed out halfway through the night, her heels clacking furiously. Lila felt a rush of satisfaction, like a weight lifting off her shoulders. For the first time in years, she felt seen. But the real payoff came a week later. Vivian called Lila, her voice uncharacteristically soft. "Lila, darling, we didn't realize how successful you were. We're so proud of you. Maybe you could help us with next year's gala. And maybe give Nora some business advice. She's been struggling with her practice." Lila leaned back in her office chair, her lips curling into a faint smile. She could hear the desperation in her mother's voice, the same woman who'd spent years tearing her down. She took a deep breath, savoring the moment. "Thanks for the call, Mom," Lila said, her voice cool. "But I'm booked solid for the next 2 years. And honestly, you and Nora should have believed in me when it mattered. Maybe next time. You'll think twice before calling someone's dreams frivolous." She hung up, her heart racing with a mix of relief and triumph. The bricks she'd carried for so long were gone. She was free. Lila's story isn't just about revenge. It's about proving your worth, even when the world doubts you. It's about turning pain into power and never letting anyone dim your light. What do you think? Did Lila's family get what they deserved? Or should she have given them a second chance? If this story gave you chills, or maybe a little inspiration, smash that like button and drop a comment below. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? Or maybe you've got your own story of proving the haters wrong. Share it with us! And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a story like this. Until next time, keep chasing your dreams, and maybe a little sweet revenge.